mental health as a subject has been very rarely spoken about within male circles. However, within female circles, on the contrary, it's not only spoken about, but also encouraged. Women are very often encouraged to seek help, to speak with one another, to address their mental health issues, sometimes even more than necessary. Even if they lack any problems or any mental issues, they're still encouraged, to go out there and seek help, etc. And men rarely do it. But we all kind of know all of this already. Many people have come out throughout the past few years, and they have expressed this and said that men should seek help. And we know this. I'm not gonna make a video about this and explain and go in detail and then repeat every other guy that has spoken about this issue. However, what I will speak about is the reason as to why this is happening. Because I believe that the reasons that are often listed are not actually the primary cause of what prevents men from speaking about mental health and seeking help when they need to. And as some of you might know, the month of June is Men's Health Month. And I just decided to make this video and, give you my thoughts about it. So the reason why men lack the natural thought of speaking about mental health and knowing when they have a problem is that simply they have no point of reference. And what I mean by that is, throughout a man's entire life, he's pretty much left to figure out stuff on his own, all right? Like after the age of 12, 13, 15, whatever, but sometime in your early teens, as a man, you start seeing that you're kind of left on your own, aside from your parents and maybe a couple of friends here and there. You're kind of on your own. You have to figure out life on your own. You have to see how things work, and nobody's there to help you. You have to figure it out yourself. And as men, we more often than not start feeling a bit detached. We are locked in our own world. We see the surroundings of us, the surrounding environment, from our own bubble, from our own very, I don't want to say narrow, but very limited point of view. And we simply have no point of reference as to what it feels for somebody to say, hey, what's up? How you doing? Is everything okay? Can you figure this out? Do you need help? And even when you're very young, even when you're like a child, even then when you're in school, let's say, and you're playing sports, you're kind of left out to figure it out. You want to learn how to do a pull-up? Go figure it out, go do some pull-ups, go get some muscle. You want to, when you're like in high school, you want to start picking up girls and having a girlfriend? Go figure it out. Go speak to girls, go try and make sense of it on your own. And that's for most men, I would say. With women, on the other hand, I feel it's a bit different. And I know, we're not allowed to say that men and women are different. But who cares? I'm just a guy in a mask. If you don't feel comfortable, close the video right now. But I feel with women, they're very much receiving feedback. I'm not saying men are receiving negative feedback, but men in general are receiving lack of feedback. You just don't know. You don't know what's happening. You don't know if you're doing something right or if it's wrong. For a lack of a better word, people just don't care as much, is my observation. With women, however, people care more about their issues. For example, if you see a girl that's unemployed or she's struggling in some way, you might think, well, poor woman, she's going through some hard times. If you see a guy that's unemployed or is going through something, very rarely will you stop and give it a second thought. It's just, it's just a guy. And if you're that person, if you're that man who has grown up his entire adolescence life without a proper guidance on how to do things, you don't have necessarily a point of reference what it feels like for somebody to care about you, to care enough to say, to sit down with you and ask you, hey man, what's up? In your mind, your only experience that you feel is, for a lack of a better word, loneliness. You feel kind of like left out. And I personally experienced this when I went to university. Because when I went to university, that was when the second wave of COVID started. And there were entire days in which I was sitting in my room and I was just, kind of minding my own business. It didn't bother me then, but now, a couple of years later that I think about it, it did shape my way of thinking, at least a little bit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of guys don't speak about mental health and they don't seek any sort of guidance from this because they just don't know. They don't know they need it. They never were exposed to or prone to seeking, to thinking about this. It just never naturally occurred to them. And it's not about some male bravado, which people very often say because, oh, look at me, I'm a guy, I don't need any guidance. No, it's just you don't know you need it. For all these years, people barely cared about your problems. Why is it different now? Like, I have a job, or I'm going to university, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Who cares if I feel a little down today? It's not a big deal. It's only natural. That's what men are taught through trial and error on their own to think about it. And it's not a video of me saying that men have it worse than women and women are privileged or something. I wouldn't say that. Probably this video would get demonetized if I did. But again, who cares? I'm just a guy in a mask. Have your own thoughts and your own beliefs. I'm just, expressing my mind here since, as I already said, it is Men's Health Month this June. So, amongst other things, why would I not, express a couple words of wisdom?